Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Africa Business Conference New Ventures competition. We're very excited this year that out of 350 applicants, which is 3 times as many applicants that we had last year, we've been able to narrow it down to an incredible top 10 competing group, and we're very excited to introduce them to you today. These companies come from many different countries in Africa, as you will see from their presentations, and they span industries from agriculture to health, technology, energy, and fashion. I would like to make some acknowledgements before we begin. I'd first like to acknowledge 2 of the sponsors that made the New Ventures competition possible. One is Sundial Brands, and the other is Harambee. Sundial Brands will be awarding a prize worth $5,000 to the top female entrepreneur or female empowerment related enterprise. And Harambee will be awarding a prize of also $5,000 to the top technology enterprise. I would also like to welcome the judging panel who are here in the front row. I'd like to start with Yuvan Naidu, who's the chair of the Africa Business Club Alumni Advisory Board and also the managing director of Venture University and the Venture Fund. We also have Dr. Lance Bell, who's the CEO and founder of LGB, which is a boutique advertising agency, and also a partner in a semiconductor incubator that has screened over 300 startups. I'd like to also welcome Shane Varamali, the managing partner of Carbon, which is an impact social enterprise. Adil Mamuji, founder of Musha Ventures, which focuses on early stage investments in technology companies. Andrew Musoke, the vice president of sales and marketing and the chief commercial officer of Lori Systems, which is a logistics coordination platform. Scott Overdyke, the associate director of social enterprise at the Harvard Innovation Labs. And I'd also like to welcome a special guest judge, Dr. Jeff Sutherland, who is the co-creator of Scrum and one of the founders of the Agile movement. So we can welcome our judges. I'd also like to make one final acknowledgement to the New Ventures competition team, to thank you for all of the hard work that we've put in over the past few months, which is Veronica Poland, David Yu, Jeffrey Tillis, Karen Nyawera, and Rim Bensouda. Thank you all. So the first company that we'll be pitching today is Bennu Energies.
Hello, everyone. Thank you too for being here. Hello, I'm Boubacar Diallo. I'm the founder of Benoo Energies, a company focused on solar development of projects, and we are operating in Burkina Faso and also in Togo. The main problem we want to solve today is the lack of energy in African rural areas, and mainly the lack of energy for businesses. The person you can see in the picture is an entrepreneur in Burkina Faso, in the village of Zignare. The main problem he has is not just the access to energy, it's the fact that energy costs a lot, and that has a direct impact in the margin that he's able to generate for his business. No margin, no capacity to generate revenues for his family, and also to generate revenues inside the village. What we are doing today is to support the development of businesses by providing them access to energy, but also digital tools. What that means? First, access to energy. We are providing access to energy with a custom-made solution, what is a business-in-the-box system. We provide solar energy, but also we provide all that an entrepreneur needs to generate a business in a rural area. This is essential. Why? Because in rural areas, you need to be totally vertical integrated. You cannot just focus on providing energy. You need also to focus on seeing what you need to provide to the entrepreneurs, also to provide and to generate this business. Let's give you an example. This is Akpene. He's an entrepreneur of one of our villages in Togo, the village of Ahomekbe. It's a village of 2,000 inhabitants, and now with the solution that we provided, she's able to generate $2,000 of turnover. That means that now he's also able to generate margins, and with these margins, he's able to pay for the asset because it's a rental model of the solar kiosk, and she's also able to pay for the support that we provide her. We provide this support with a digital solution, which is just a mobile application. And at the end, this is the most important thing, she is able to generate a revenue. a real net income that is the money that he can get and she can use for his children and also to create wealth in the village. If we can do that and to attain this level of revenues is because we have a dual model. It's a model where we are interested in the assets, the fact that we provide a business-in-the-box system, but we are also fully focused on the fact that we need to offer also digital solutions. These digital solutions are quite simple, but they are just business enablers. One of them is just the fact that with the mobile application, Akpene is able to follow the sales he is doing. She can also order products, and she can also monitor his system to know exactly what is the consumption of the system. And also, she can drive operation and maintenance of his system. We are not alone on this market. It's a market with a big opportunity. As I said, a lot of businesses don't have access to energy. Probably businesses in South African countries are expending around 50 billions per year to have access to energy because they are already paying for that. There is other customers doing solar kiosks, like a German company and one company in Madagascar. But we are the only company that is fully integrated and fully focused on the digital part of the business. And that is not the only point. The last point is also that we have a clear plan of deployment locally. We have a distribution network with NGOs and social businesses that are able to be the good interface between us and the entrepreneurs in the villages to provide them all the services that we want to offer to them. We plan to deploy this year with 3 of these partners, 2 in Burkina Faso and 1 in Togo. And the plan is to deploy 160 solar kiosks in those countries. Then we want to continue the deployment with a partnership with other distributors of energy, because we believe that we need to deploy also partnerships in the future to increase the deployment of our model, not just in West Africa, but also in East Africa. An important point in terms of deployment is the fact that we know that first we need to invest in our own assets. As I said, this is a business where you need to start by being vertically integrated. You cannot do just one part of the business. You need to do everything. So we think that we need funding because we need to invest in 30 new units, new assets, by our own way, because we need to show to investors that we are able to generate a real traction. We want to show that Akpene is not just one chance, but is something that is really happening in the rural villages. People have money to spend, and we want to show that this can run easily. This is the first part, and we need also funding for helping our entrepreneurs for training and for empowerment. And we are looking for $500,000. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to invite the judges. We now have 5 minutes of question time. So each company pitching today will speak for 5 minutes and have 5 minutes for judges to ask them questions. Thanks.
Just a quick question on the supply chain side of this. How are you managing inventory or planning to in terms of stitching all of the components in the box together?
Didn't hear you.
The supply chain behind your business, how are you planning to line up all the vendors so you can meet the inventory demands?
Well, we have different partners on this business. The first partner that we have is the technical partners locally, because we work with electrical companies that are able to help us in the deployment of the solar kiosk. Then we have a second kind of partners that are the NGOs and the social business, because they are already in the villages and they know the entrepreneurs. And we have a third type of partners. We work with companies that are willing to enter in rural areas to sell products. And those are drinks, people that want to sell fresh drinks, people that want to sell chicken, fish. And they know that we are a good partner with them, for them, because we have the capacity to enter in new markets for them.
In referring to the panels themselves, the electrical boxes, the power management, the batteries, et cetera.
For all the part, the solar panels is something that we import directly to Togo, and we work with the tier one partners. In fact, when we are, our first part of the job is to validate the quality of the system that we want to install. So we work with some standards. So the solar panels are tier one, and all the system, the technical system is a Victron system. It's a very well-known company for the off-grid operators. It's very important for us to work hardly on the quality of the system because it's a rental model, and if you have a rental model, you need to be sure that when you give this service proposition, you are not going to have problems with your system. So this is the main focus for us.
Oh yeah, so I like the idea. I think it truly empowers entrepreneurs in local communities, but it's a very capital-intensive business with very long payback periods, and quite a lot of in order for this to be successful, you have to be good at collecting money from people over a long period of time. How do you think about that?
Yes, this is the main issue, is that it's very capital intensive. Today with Akpene, for example, the return is around 5 years. But it's 5 years because we are just at the beginning. We did any marketing action in the village. We just put the kiosk there, the digital application, our partner, and then things start moving. With this, we have a 5 years return. What we are looking for with the investment in new assets and by doing more development, more marketing action, is to check if we have the capacity to increase these revenues that they are generating to reduce this return to 3 years, around 3 years. This is a very worst case when we say 5. And the other point is that I think that as is a capital-intensive model, the focus is not to stay like an energy producer. We are more a service company. That in this case we need to go to a next level and show with our model of revenue generation that we can bring with us other partners, other energy producers that can be interested on these kind of models.
Great. A quick question about, it's impressive that you have a bunch of different functionality built into this, but at the same time, you can't be all things to all people. Do you have a sense for what the primary use case will be for your customers in terms of either the industry that you're attacking? Is 80% of the value here going to accrue to a very particular function, a very particular type of SMEs? And do you have a sense for that yet based on the users that you have?
Well, we are focusing on two kinds of customers. The smaller one like this, micro entrepreneurs, because they are it's a small business, but they are really well implemented on the villages. These micro entrepreneurs are 80% women because they are in the villages and they know how to drive the business. They are really business focused. And the other kind of SMEs we are focusing on is agribusinesses. This is connected to these entrepreneurs too, because there is a lot of agribusiness with a need of cold systems, and they have a real lack of energy to be able to develop their activity. Main focus is to check when we look to our business model, what we want to see if we implement energy, no matter the cost, are we able to generate more revenues for these people?
And we're unfortunately out of time for questions, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great. Echoact. I'd like to welcome our next presenter from Echoact.
Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. My name is Christian. I'm coming from Tanzania. Our core business is transforming plastic garbage into plastic timbers. Before I continue, may I give you a very short story about my friend Michael. I used to have a friend like 3 years back. His job was transporting people from one place to another using the motorbike. One day he got an accident, very bad accident. He was hospitalized and supposed to undergo surgery. It was very expensive for him to cover the cost. So as friends, we had to contribute to that, to do the donation. As we were raising funds, it was too late for him. My friend Michael died. He died because not only he was poor, but he couldn't have enough money to pay for the medical insurance. But what I learned from that instance is, from where Michael was living, is in my country, more than 3.5 million people live on the slums. These are the people who earn $2 per day. 94% of them, they don't have medical insurance. So what can they give to get medical insurance? The only thing that poor people can give for free is garbage. Only garbage. And when it rains, all these garbage you see around there, they go on the river, they end up in the ocean, causing 90 million tons of plastic to end in the ocean every year. And according to UNEP report, in 2050, there will be more plastic on the ocean than fish. So what did we do? So we took an initiative working with these people on the slums, telling them to provide us 30 kilograms of plastic garbage every month, and in return, we give them medical insurance coverage per family for 1 year. Because in my country, it's very expensive to dispose garbage. Can you imagine someone who does not have money to eat? Where does he or she get money to pay for the garbage? What happened is they wake up in the night, when everybody's asleep, throw the garbage on the streets. That's why we had to intervene in this. So what do we do? So when we collect this plastic garbage from this family once per week, we bring them to our factory, and we have an innovative technology, a chemical-free energy conservation technology to transform this plastic garbage and packaging material into durable and longer-lasting plastic timber that are used for building, construction, as well as furniture making. These are some of the samples I came with. So, and then we sell this to the real estate developers, being one of our most common customers. And the uniqueness of our product is plastic timbers are durable and termite resistant, recyclable, and can last longer than wood. So this is part of our team. And basically, I was trying to show you that the expertise that we bring together to this innovation and some of the awards we have won. Focusing on the market a bit. So we are focusing on the timber market, which is a very huge timber market, but our focus is just on building and furniture market. And we are looking forward to capturing 15% of African market by 2022. This is the plan we have. But you could see with the figures, we are working to balance both, to save the environment, save people, as well as generate revenue. And last year, we managed to collect more than 1 million tons of plastics and converted them to plastic timbers. And that way, we saved 450 acres of forest that would have been cut. This is a sample of the products that we do. So we do fencing using plastic timbers. We also do garden furniture that we have sold to Tanzania and Burundi. And we are looking to expand to Congo, Rwanda, and Kenya this year. We have also developed the floor using the plastic timbers, floor decking. We also developed the home gates using the plastic timbers. And this picture speaks a lot about what we are doing now in Tanzania and Burundi. This mama is called Mama Asha. She was very sick. She got pregnant, she delivered a baby, but she has some complications. In Africa, especially in my country, it's very expensive to see a specialist. To see a normal doctor is very simple. Maybe it's very cheap. But when you have too much complications, you have to see the specialist, which is very expensive. She could not afford. She stayed at home for 7 months, having no money to see the doctor. When we launched the garbage medical insurance, she was one of the guys who came in first in our project. By exchanging her garbage with medical insurance, she managed to get the insurance and meet the doctor, got treated. So I normally look at these pictures every time because it defines exactly that we're recycling not to save only the environment, but also to save the lives of the people. This is one of our factories that we have that we are transforming this plastic garbage into plastic timbers using a chemical-free and energy-conserving technology patented in Africa. Thank you.
Hi, just a quick question. So you collect the plastic and you convert it into the timbers. Are you in the collections business? Are you in the medical insurance business? Or are you in the construction business? There's a lot of businesses there. And how can you unpack it? And why is it plastic for insurance, not cash? Because that's a very specific product. So just explain that vertical integration, please.
Thank you. So our core business is transforming plastic garbage into building material. That's our core business. So with the insurance, we are partnered with the government agents, that is called National Health Insurance Fund. They're the one who are providing that medical insurance. We are simply paying that, and then they are providing that to our clients. So why health?
Why don't you give them cash instead, and they can choose whether they want insurance or something else?
Exactly, but we learned a lot of things. You could see, in most of African countries, it's very difficult for poor people to save money, to keep money that they can use when they are sick or when they are in need. They get what they can consume. Most of the time, when they are sick, it's very difficult for them to have enough balance to take care of their health. That's why I decided to take initiative specifically to venture and to help them in terms of medical insurance, not giving them cash.
So just building off of that question, do you feel like as you expand in the region that you may in the future offer different alternatives other than insurance, because every country is different? So the government in Kenya may be different from Tanzania in terms of providing that option for their people. So in your future, are you looking at potentially giving cash or other options other than insurance?
Yeah, sure. We also hope so, because we are now operating in Tanzania and Burundi. That's where we sell most of our products. Also, but we are very open. If we go to another country, we see how to compensate it differently, we will do that. But currently, for the areas where we are working, we see like health is a priority, and most of the people living on the slum, most poor people, they don't have medical insurance. Almost 94% of them.
Absolutely love this business. I would be curious to understand about the scale of the operations you have and how much insurance are you kind of giving out on a yearly basis?
So currently we are partnering with the government because they're the one that are giving us a subsidy in terms of the medical insurance that we are providing for these families. So in an average, a family can produce 50 to 60 kilograms of plastic garbage per month. It's not a problem. And so most of them, they can meet that requirement. And as more as we expand, we look for other partners who can support, who can give medical insurance. But for them, they give us in subsidy, then we pay that, then we expect the return from the raw material. Instead of just going to the oceans or to the street to collect plastics, this family, they collect plastics for us because they have family plastics on their households. And the most interesting thing is when you get plastic from home, it's more clean. It's not contaminated than getting the plastic from the dump sites. That's where we have more advantage of reducing the time of cleaning them at the factory.
So fantastic ecosystem. In fact, it'll be wonderful to see this spread around the world. How have you got the economics down? Is it more cost effective than timber to make this furniture? And what's your plans to scale this?
I would tell one thing which is very important is to extrude plastics is very expensive. If you could see most of the company that extrude plastics, because it takes a lot of energy. So instead of what they are doing, they're using chemicals to speed the process so that they could use less energy. That's why we developed our own technology. We are using wax technology. We're using wax from the bees to have the process that is chemical-free, but that is very speed. That's why I said this technology is patented, because it's for us. We're the one who got something that we could use instead of using chemical that could speed the process but remaining purely organic process.
So you're using beeswax instead of resin, essentially, from the chemical industry.
Instead of using chemicals, we are using bees. You know, these bees, the one who produce honey, they produce wax. So
You don't know beeswax?
just to the question of economics, how do the costs of these materials compare at the end of the day to the furniture manufacturers or others who use them as inputs? More expensive, less expensive, longer lasting, et cetera. How does the cost compare?
Okay, so on the production process, mostly what is expensive is using the process is energy. I'll say energy. It consumes more energy if you are using normal processes. So, but for us using the wax technology, it becomes more quicker and affordable. So if we could produce 1 kilogram of recycled plastic using maybe 14 watts, with wax technology you could use 6 watts. So it's less consumption in terms of energy. This makes our timber becomes less expensive on the market by 22% compared to the price of normal wood, normal timbers.
I'm going to have to cut you off there. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'd like to welcome Festoun to the stage. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Samah and I'm the founder of Festoun. Festoun is a sustainable fashion social enterprise that features a variety of collections that celebrate modesty, diversity, culture, and inclusivity, both in sizing and representation. We support the determination of marginalized women to achieve economic independence and improve their social, upward, and financial mobility. And these are some of our products. Some of our dresses. So we cater currently to the modest fashion industry, which is a very lucrative multi-billion-dollar industry. And there's a lot of unfulfilled demand in this industry. And it's a very big industry because of the fact that consumers are committed to it for a higher reason, and that is that they're a very loyal audience. They're committed to it for their belief set, which is lifelong. Some of our dresses. So we empower women in 3 ways. Firstly, our artisans, we connect them to the global marketplace through market-driven data. And our target market currently is our operations were in Dubai, but our target market currently is Africa, and the modest fashion market is actually a $484 billion industry, and 41.2% of it accounts for Africa, North Africa and South Africa. So back to our business model, we are a social enterprise. So we measure financial profitability with social impact. And in 2016, when we were testing the market in Dubai, we made an average net revenue of $72,000 per month and a gross profit of $53,000. And on average, we had around 120 sales per month. And during peak seasons, we had around 180 sales per month. And then our social impact aspect of it, we were able to employ between 12 and 15 women, and they had reported to have increased their income by 3 to 4 times. They were able to invest this back into their families, pay for medical expenses. Also, we provided them with educational opportunities. So we mainly operate through e-commerce. About 70% of our sales come in from online sales, and about 30% are through partnerships with stores. We currently have 3 partnerships with stores in London, Chicago, and in Dubai, hopefully, and then 2 partnerships in Africa, North Africa in 2019. Modest fashion is a very big industry over there as well. And our collections are available to order worldwide. So we're actually our market is actually international. So people are able to order our dresses through e-commerce sales. Some of our competitive advantages is that we are one of the first few e-commerce modest bespoke wear lines, and in addition to that, we have a variety of designs, so we cater to different markets based on geographical location and culture. Also, the experience is very personal. Our artisans are very attentive, and this gives us a competitive advantage because most retailers only offer standardized sizing and our dresses are tailored to the customer. In addition to that, consumers feel good knowing that their profits and proceeds are going to economically empower these women and providing them with opportunities. And in addition to that, they're not contributing to a polluting part of the fashion industry. So yeah, we're currently raising capital in order to partner with cooperatives in Africa and build these facilities because we want to be able to provide more than just educational opportunities. We want to be able to provide design skills training, entrepreneurship training, leadership training for our artisans, and really be able to empower them so that they're able, this is more of an investment back to the community. They're able to do a lot with this. This is actually, a lot of the women that we do hire are marginalized women, and this has actually helped them more than just with income generation. These are some of our behind the scenes in Dubai. Questions? Do you guys have any questions for me? Anything?
Sure. So, congratulations. These are beautiful dresses. I wanted to ask about two things: kind of e-commerce and fashion, both being super competitive industries with really low barriers of entry. How you not only differentiate yourself, but how you actually market yourself, how you get in front of people. Is this a digital marketing play? And if so, how do you actually get people's attention and when you have a lot of people competing for eyeballs?
Right, so first of all, the modest fashion market, there's a lot of unfulfilled demand. Like global fashion brands haven't really been able to tap into this market. They lack a personal approach with these consumers. And so we mainly utilize digital marketing through social media. And we have target market influencers like social media influencers, people that are really popular in the modest fashion industry, and they promote our products, and that actually has really helped increase our sales by 42%. So when we have them wearing our dresses, and they're really popular with our target market, and the women that follow these women on social media, they see it on them, they want to emulate this person, and a lot of the influencers that we use, we make sure they're ones that have like a very positive image, they have like really strong values, and so it's more than just the dress, like people want to emulate the person in a way. So I would say, yeah, digital marketing and social media.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So first of all, I have a beautiful daughter, of course, and very involved in some of her decisions. Your stuff is fabulous, and it just looks fantastic. So congratulations on that. Also help a lot of entrepreneurs as an angel investor, speak to a lot of folks. And one of the things we talk about is the customer journey, and you have to have that mapped out. Online, of course, is not high touch, high feel. How do you go through the sizing process? What's that customer experience in terms of people really getting the size right? And what's your returns process? Because those economics can either make or break your business. What's that customer journey like?
Right, so we have these specialists, customer service specialists, that talk to the customer if they have any questions. They're available either online, through email, through messenger service. But the customization process is very detailed, and that actually is one of the reasons why consumers, a lot of our customers end up coming back for more dresses because of the amount of detail and the amount of attention we give them. And our specialists are available, to answer questions for the customers throughout the process, and they make it very personalized. That's actually our competitive advantage. So the process is through the app. They have to input their measurements, and everything is strategically seamed. And these dresses are very size inclusive for all different types of bodies and sizes. That's one of the main selling points.
I agree with you, and these are absolutely beautiful designs. So my question for you, with a $484 billion market with 41% of it in Africa, what is the average cost of one of those dresses?
So it varies. I would say the standard collection, like the Blair dresses, the standard ones, let me show you a picture. Like these ones would be the standard dress, those ones, the chiffon ones. The material we're buying at wholesale from wholesale suppliers, and we have access to an international textile market, so we were able to really source the best quality material, also for the best price. So I would say like a dress like that would cost maybe around $60 and easily sells for $290. And the material is actually, has a long product life. So I've washed this dress like 9-10 times in the washer and have been able to wear it like, I really, really invested in the quality of the material more than anything. I designed so many prototypes until I was able to really get the best fabric. And I believe like a good quality product sells itself. So I haven't really even invested that much in marketing, but the products just through word of mouth. People hear about, oh, I wore it, somebody else saw it, I loved it, and they always come back. So our returns are actually very low.
Just real quick on the empowerment side, I love the products. How exactly, are you more of an e-storefront for multiple designers, or are these proprietary to you? And then do you have the women workforces that are actually putting these dresses together, and kind of how does that whole thing work for you?
Yeah, so we basically we focus on the whole market-driven data aspect. So basically the modest fashion industry was just a market that we saw was going to be very profitable, and that's why we kind of connected it to these artisans. But we do design, as of right now, I'm the one that designed most of the collections, because I knew this is what the consumer and this is what that particular market wants. This is exactly what's missing in the market. This is what they don't have, and it's modesty is not exclusive to Muslim women. It transcends faiths and backgrounds. But yeah, eventually, when we have more investment, I want to be able to collaborate with different designers. I want to be able to cater to different markets and cultures and be able to really showcase history and culture of other designers and artisans. So for now, we're just...
to cut you off, but we're well over time for questions. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to welcome our next company, which is Freshmart.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Boyebisi. I'm the co-founder of Freshmart Global Services Limited. We're based in Nigeria, working to address supply chain challenges in the agricultural market in Africa. Supply chain. So this is a typical supply chain in the agricultural market in Africa. Nigeria is a case study. And very key there is the smallholder. Very important. But if you look at it, they sell to middlemen, and one middleman sells to another middleman, who sells to another middleman before it gets to the agro-processor or food manufacturer. It is convoluted, it is long, it is broken. And one resultant effect of that is, that about 30 to 50% of food is lost across each of these points in the value chain. Massive. In a country where about 230 million people go hungry. And if you look at this problem, there are many solutions that have been provided by people, but we thought about what solution could solve the supply chain problem and the lack of access to market by smallholder farmers who we believe are the key to food sustainability in Africa. And we call our solution Freshmart. So what is Freshmart? I'm sorry, I don't know. Freshmart is a mobile platform that offers farming contract from agro-processor and then provide this farming contract to smallholder farmers. We organize the smallholder farmers in clusters. We get farming contract for the food manufacturers, and we give it to the smallholders to solve the problem of access to market for them. And this way, we not only are able to meet the demand of food manufacturers who are now calling for, food manufacturers who are now calling for more sustainable and inclusive food supply chain, we're also solving the problem of lack of access to market. So this is the way we work, as I've said. So farmers are organized in clusters, we'll connect them to agro-processors. But we have now infused technology. So when they are connected to agro-processors and they sign contract, the contract are recorded on blockchain. Now, what are the farmers, what will the blockchain be for? So the farmers cannot take this contract and then go to microfinance institution who are going to be part of the blockchain network and access finance from the microfinance institution. So that is how it works. And right now, what we are doing is we have a pilot with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in Nigeria and Oyo State Agricultural Development Program with about 5,000 farmers. And this pilot will end in July 2019. We want to learn from this pilot and then extend these services to 50,000 farmers in Nigeria by 2019. Our value proposition when we go to food manufacturers and agro-processors is that not only are we able to help you organize smallholders that can meet your demand, we can also, with this relationship that you will build with smallholder farmers, control the quality of produce that comes to your production. So, and this is something that they have always expressed interest in. In Nigeria, for example, as a case study, we import about $20 billion of food annually. Now, but we have over 50 million smallholder farmers. We believe that with this platform, if we connect them to the right resources, farm input, access to market and finance, they can solve the problem of food sustainability in Nigeria. This is our theme, myself. So I started my first venture when I was out of high school, connecting tutors to students. And I've been on that entrepreneurial journey. And I have someone, my CMO, who finished from the same university, who studied agriculture, and also has an MBA from that same university, who finished together. We have a CTO who is doing his master's currently here at Prairie View in Texas. Okay, so we believe that food sustainability in Africa is achievable. But for us to do that, the key important actor, the smallholder farmers, who number above 100 million in Africa, has to be connected to the right resources and the right platform to be able to do this. Our revenue model, we believe that successful contracts we can earn commission from successful contracts that are done on our platform, and by this we generate revenue. Thank you.
Thanks for what you're doing, particularly serving smallholder farmers. I think there's obviously a tremendous need there, but there's also a tremendous challenge in trying to serve those needs, one of which is really difficult to organize, really difficult to lend to, really difficult to work with large groups of smallholder farmers. I wonder how you will mitigate those risks going forward. I mean, principal among them, the risk of side selling their produce to other buyers, to middlemen, anyone who comes in with a better price or who comes in sooner in the season when they may need access to credit. How do you address that risk and maybe any other risks that you see in this supply chain?
Yeah. Thank you so much. So we recognize the risk, and one way we have approached this is where we are doing our pilot currently. It's a region where British American Tobacco has operated contract farming business model for more than 5 decades. So these are farmers that are experienced in this business and have learned the importance of it and the advantage that it brings. So we believe that we can sell the same success story, not just to the farmers around that region, but other regions, and with the cooperation. Because in Africa, of course, the institutions are weak, but there are certain institutions that are respected by people, such as the traditional institutions. So cooperation between our platform, the Farmers Association, the traditional institutions can mitigate risks such as side selling. And if we sell more success story to farmers who don't have access to market now, we believe that that can encourage others to come into it. Yeah.
I made a similar investment in a company that's solving a similar problem in Kenya called Twiga Foods. And in order for them to be successful, they were solving 3 problems. One is reduction in price, better transparency of inventory, and then collecting data in order to offer additional services like credit, for example, to both vendors as well as smallholder farmers. But in order to do that, they had to own the entire supply chain. And it's unclear to me, are you guys owning the whole supply chain, or are you just providing software around it?
So we don't own the entire supply chain. So, but one thing we've been able to do is when we connect the farmers to the agro-processors or food manufacturers, we also go along in that journey to ensure that the contracts are successful. And very importantly, we feel that the value that we bring in that relationship is that we can work with the farmers to collect all the data that the agro-processor or the food manufacturer need. And there are extension services that we are partnered with, like the Oyo State Agricultural Development Program. So these are institutions that are already working with the farmers. We have partnership with them. So an agro-processor does not need to hire their own extension service to work with the farmers. So we have this partnership with these people, and we'll go to the agro-processor and say, look, you don't have to worry about who is going to manage your farmers. We have partnerships, we have people on the field that will ensure that you get the quality produce that you demand from the farmers and ensure that this contract come to success. So that part is where we play for now. Of course, what we bring in terms of technology is in the whole process, but we don't own the other part of the supply chain. We don't do that for now.
No, thank you. And this is such an important sector, both smallhold farmers and also the produce that gets wasted. But the last mile is one of the most difficult things to close across many countries in Africa. And you mentioned two things. You mentioned the blockchain and you mentioned payments. I see a lot of business plans that have blockchain and involved in that. What's your thinking of why blockchain is helpful in this particular instance? And from a payments perspective, how are you removing this pain point in terms of your technology and software? Do you have a beta product? How do you think through that?
Okay, thank you, sir. So it's very true that a lot of entrepreneurs infuse blockchain into their proposals to sell it. But that's not why we're doing that. So we feel that if we have the contracts on blockchain, then the farmers can, so the other people that will bring into the blockchain network, such as microfinance institutions. So, because anybody can come up and say, I have a contract with XYZ food company. So, but as a lender or a microfinance institution, how do you verify that? Even if they give you a document, it could be a falsified document. But when you are in the blockchain network, the contracts that happen are visible to you also. So it makes the process of lending to the farmer seamless for you as a microfinance institution. So on the part of the payment, so we don't have a beta product yet. So in our pilot, the way we do our pilot is, so the farmers are in a particular region that we are working. So we're learning all the challenges that are there. So maybe in our final solution, we'll have a point of payment, but for now, payment are sent directly to them in the bank account for those who have bank accounts. For those who don't
I'm very sorry to cut you off. We're at the end of our question
sir.
time. Our next company is Infius.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Melissa Bime, and I'm the founder and CEO of INFIUSS, which is an online blood bank and an emergency digital blood sourcing platform that connects hospitals that have blood banks to hospitals that do not have blood banks in Cameroon. 2 years ago, I was in my final year of nursing school, and during my final pediatric rotation, I had a patient called Rita. She was 5 years old, and she had been admitted presenting with anemia after a bout with malaria. The hospital in which we were at did not have a blood bank, and she needed an urgent blood transfusion. Unfortunately, 2 days later, this child passed away because her mother had been unable to get people to donate blood for her transfusion. It was a normal day at the hospital. People die. But a week later, we had transfer students that came in from another hospital. And when we were talking about this case, One of the students mentioned that she had worked in a blood bank of another hospital that was about 30 minutes away from where we were, and they had this blood that the child needed. And after that conversation, I began asking myself why hospitals insisted on working as individual entities instead of collaborating together to achieve better patient outcomes. Upon doing more research about this, I realized that in Cameroon, 72% of hospitals don't have blood banks, and they have to depend on 28% of hospitals that have blood banks who can barely meet up to their own demands. Every day in Cameroon, 1 in 6 people will die because they do not have access to life-saving blood. And of this number, 40% is made up of pregnant women suffering from complications such as miscarriages, abortions, postpartum hemorrhage, and children under the age of 5. Upon graduating, I decided to start this project called INFIUSS, which is an online blood bank and a digital blood supply chain platform that gives patients and healthcare professionals the ability to make a request for blood by calling us, sending an SMS, or using our mobile application to tell us the type of blood they need, the quantity, and in which hospital they are located in. We then source this patient's request on a digital database of blood bank hospitals that we partner with to outsource specifically the hospital that meets the needs of these patients. And then we send out a medical dispatch team to pick up this blood and deliver it directly to the patient. We started this project 16 months ago, and since then we have delivered 2,800 units of blood across 23 hospitals in Yaoundé. Right now in Cameroon, Infius is the first of its kind, and across Central Africa as well. Our main competition is the hospitals that have blood banks. But in Cameroon, if you need an emergency blood transfusion and you go to a blood bank hospital that has the blood that you need, they'll ask you to bring 3 replacement donors in addition to paying $100 for that bag of blood. This is the only way the hospitals can keep stock. But in a case of an emergency, this just becomes crazy. Across Africa, we see other initiatives that have sprung up to address this problem, and some of these include Zipline in Rwanda and LifeBank in Nigeria. Our major competitive advantage over these other initiatives is we run our own in-house blood bank that compensates for shortages when we cannot get this blood at blood bank hospitals. In Cameroon, the market for blood donations and transfusions is about $800 million a year. Right now, we're looking at tapping into about 30% of that market over the next 5 years through a strategic partnership which we signed with the Ministry of Public Health in Cameroon that gives us access into 908 public hospitals around the country. We have 2 business models. So we have B2B and B2C. With B2B, we work with private hospitals and clinics that want to provide blood bank services to their patients, but do not have the resources to fund a blood bank section for the hospital. And we serve as their blood bank. They pay us a yearly subscription fee of $1,000, which covers for transportation, and they do not have to pay for transportations whenever they have a patient that needs a blood transfusion. With B2C, we cater directly to patients that reach out to us when they need emergency blood transfusion services. And we charge them $80 per bag of blood, as well as $10 for the transportation fee. We started this company in October of 2017, and we made over $10,000 in revenue. In 2018, we made $28,000 in revenue, and in 2019, we're looking at making over $125,000 in revenue, thanks to this partnership with the Ministry of Public Health that gives us access into all these hospitals and takes away the bureaucracy of having to sign one hospital after another. Our team is made up of myself. I'm a nurse, but I don't work in that capacity in my company. I work as team leader. We have 1 operations lead, 1 IT and software developer, as well as 2 transporters that move the blood to the hospitals. And we also have a medical team made up of laboratory technicians who ensure quality control of the blood that we transport. We're here today competing for this competition because we are raising $300,000 in seed revenue. $200,000 of this is going towards helping us fund a state-of-the-art medical testing laboratory. Right now, we have to outsource testing of our blood bags to other independent laboratories, which plays a part on our unit economics. We also want to be able to promote our mobile.
Very sorry to cut you off, but we're over time.
Okay.
We'll now go into our question time.
Yeah, so we also need to use the money to promote our mobile application, to develop, that's it.
So I think wonderful opportunity here. We just have a few questions regarding where do you source your blood from? And then in terms of demand, if you do reach a point where you do have a lot of demand, how will you prioritize who gets the blood or what hospitals get the blood?
So we source blood from blood bank hospitals, only from the hospitals that have blood banks. And in terms of demand, right now the hospitals that we work with are even unable to meet the demand of the other hospitals. And that's why we really want to focus now on opening our own in-house blood bank, because we believe that if we're able to tele-recruit and digitally follow up donors, we can get more people that come in regularly as voluntary blood donors, and we'll keep having blood donors to meet up with demand.
So I love the flow of the presentation. I thought it was really well done. Answered a lot of questions. The turnaround time and service level that you're trying to meet, is there a required window that you have to meet just based on the quality of the blood, the life of the blood? You know what I'm saying? Like, how fast can you source that blood, turn it around, and is there a defined radius that you can only operate in?
So typically, if a patient needs to fulfill the conditions that the blood bank hospital gives, it typically takes a patient about 3 days to a week to secure 3 blood donors to replace the blood. But we partner up with the blood bank hospitals who trust us because they give us the blood, because we bring them blood donors, and we're able to get this blood to the patients in under 1 hour. So that's
It sounds like in the future you're working towards developing your own blood bank, but in the short term, when you are more of kind of a digital app, you own the information. Is there any risk that the government or the Ministry of Health or some other entity comes in and offers a similar benefit, and in essence it would make your service potentially obsolete or competitive with a government service?
Yeah, so that's why we're raising money right now, because we realize that there's obviously this risk of another key player coming in. But a major advantage over that is we have already secured the partnership with the Ministry of Public Health. Now we just need the funding for us to be able to meet up with the demand that this partnership brings, because we cannot scale across these hospitals if we cannot control the demand that will come with scaling.
Yeah. Is the current business at the current level sustainable so that you can pay all your employees and operate?
Yes.
And if someone gives you $300,000, what's the return that they might expect from that, given your projections?
Okay, so right now we're currently sustainable, but the problem is we are sustainable to run in just one town, as we are doing right now. We cannot scale, we cannot attempt to move into other regions. So with a cash injection or an investment right now is just to help us go bigger and move into other towns, because we have already successfully done it. We know what works, and now it's just for us to be able to replicate it across other towns.
Right.
Moving from your virtual model now of connecting supply and demand, running a blood bank is a different type of business, requiring a different type of skill. Are there regulatory barriers to you doing that? And how would you ensure constant supply? What will suddenly be the impetus for someone to suddenly come to you and start donating that they're not doing elsewhere?
So right now, people don't donate blood because they are very poorly educated about it. There's a lot of mysticism associated with blood donations, where I come from. So what we do is we tele-recruit donors directly from hospitals who have come to replace this blood, and we call them, and it's more personalized rather than probably somebody standing in a church and saying, come and donate blood, or in a school. So we call them and educate them on the importance of donating blood. And we also organize meetups where people who have benefited from blood donations tend to meet people who can potentially become blood donors, just so that they get to understand, the value of what it is that they're doing. And it's also just, we're really investing in education and, trying to turn the narrative around that.
We unfortunately don't have time for any more questions. Well done. I'd now like to invite Ship and Bag to the stage.
Hi everyone, my name is Walid Hatem. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Ship and Bag, and I'm from Egypt. Thousands of Egyptians on a daily basis purchase products online from the US, Europe, and the MENA region. However, the number of satisfied customers has declined immensely, Sarah included. Why is this? Sarah has to pay an overprice of 50%. She has to wait for 30 days for her items to arrive. And if she decides to go to a local market to buy an item, she's either not going to find it there, or if she finds it, it's going to be a very high margin that she cannot proceed with. And then she went to her friend Adam and asked him, Adam, you travel 3 times to the US. Would you like to bring some stuff over when you're coming back? He told her, I used to travel 3 to 4 times a year, but now I only travel once because of the currency fluctuation that happened in Egypt, that now I have to pay so much more. And so we realized the problem and we worked on a solution. Introducing Ship and Bag. Ship and Bag is an automated platform that connects buyers and travelers with orders to be fulfilled by those travelers. We have 2 working models, which are the peer-to-peer model and the fully funded traveling program. Let me tell you how this works. You first go onto our platform, you post the link of the item you want to buy, you get connected to the nearest arriving traveler who will buy the item and get it on his way back home. Also, we have the fully funded program with the Ministry of Tourism working on it to attract foreigners who want to visit Egypt on fully funded trips to come and visit Egypt and get some gifts on their way as well. So regarding numbers, where do you stay? So currently our business model is a commission-based business model that takes a variable and fixed cost. Our average revenue is $20. Our market size is literally huge, with more than 50,000 transactions happening per day and more than 24,000 travelers arriving to Cairo Airport every single day. We have been operating since May, and these are the consumptions of our orders, whether from the US and the UAE. Speaking of competition, we actually right now have competition, but it's not that fierce because the idea is very new and the market is huge. But all our competitors have raised, so this gives us extra validation to what we're doing. But what makes us stand out of competition is the fact that we understand the local travelers' needs. We have based our system on the legal barriers of entry on the customs and shipping regulations in Egypt and every country that we're going to be expanding in within 2019 and 2020. All this is accompanied by automation through artificial intelligence and machine learning in the distribution of all those orders on the travelers. Let me walk you through. So traction, it's listed here, but I want to talk about impact because every traveler earns $400 on average on every travel, and our buyers save around 40% on every transaction they do. I'm very proud to present a team of engineers from Cairo University with a very diverse skill set. Our operations co-founder is a former UNFPA officer. Our technical co-founder is a Guinness World Record holder and the top of his class at Cairo University. I come from 2 startups with NASA and Flat 6 Labs, along with academic empowerment with global competitions and incubation programs in the US and Germany. And since we are a team that has invested its time and effort to excel personally and professionally, we're also looking for an investor who is willing to go with a dedicated team of engineers, a diverse team, and a drive for change, and also a validated business model. And so we're raising around $200,000 for the next 12 months in order to sustain our market expansion, our legal expansion, as well as our team and development expansion. Ship and Bag is targeting and is aiming to revolutionize the individual shipping industry by providing or linking technology with people. Thank you.
Thank you. How does customs and duty work with this? One, and the second is, in the event that there's some problem or some issue and the consumer has bought the product and given it to someone and it doesn't work, how do you handle that?
Okay, so actually our system is built through automation. So whatever orders, let's say we have 100 orders today. So all those orders are going to be distributed among every traveler according to the customs and regulations and according to his preferences. So he doesn't exceed the limits of something called the gifting quota that is for every country. It's available for every country. Right now we're operating with the US and the UAE as the destination of purchase, and the buyers are from Egypt. So we're working with the Egyptian customs and regulations to make sure this operates well. On the other question, I can't remember.
What happens if a product is faulty?
Yeah, if it's faulty, we have a return policy of 14 days. It happens to be with another traveler, so we have a database of returns travelers who will be traveling and returning those items to let's say, Amazon. So they'll be contacting Amazon and handling it from there. And we actually have had like 3% of our orders have returns, and all of them have been returned successfully with the returns program by travelers.
How does the customer retrieve his goods?
So the buyer would pay to us the item. It's held in escrow, and then the traveler will go out and buy from his own money and purchase it. And when he comes back to Egypt, he delivers the item and gets his money back. So he delivers the item either to us in office, or there is a meeting point between the two where they meet and they deliver.
So
Does answer your question?
Uber.
I'm sorry?
So you're combining Craigslist and Uber.
Yeah, something like that. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So I've got a couple questions.
Sure.
One at a time. I'll give it all at once. Okay.
All right. Let's make it one at a time. Yeah.
Bear with me. So the first thing is you know, there was a great question on the customs and the duties, right? But give us an example of a product. Is it an iPhone? You know, what is actually? So that's the first one, right? Yeah. The second one. Second one linked to that. The second one linked to that is if it's an iPhone or an Apple product or something to that effect, you had a number on there saying $400 on average that each traveler would get. Mm-hmm. What margins are you talking about that would generate that type of return for
actually around actual traveler. So let's start with the second question. The actual traveler gets with him around 12 to 15 items on every travel. They're all different. They're all gifts. So we're not against the duty. We're not breaking any kinds of law. It's a gifting solution, more of a gifting solution. They're getting gifts on their way. And yeah, on average, it's the 15 items would get them on average $400. We have people who get $600. We have people who have to have 200. So it differs. It differs regarding the items they get. The first question is the customs and shipping. Again, the system is optimized through the distribution system, the automated system, to not exceed any kind of the gifting quota based on the entries of every traveler. So he tells us, I'll be having my own laptop, so you can get a laptop with you. I'll be having my own mobile, so you only can get one mobile with you. So something like this.
And so no one will bypass customs. They have to go, and you need a stamp for the customs.
Yes. And we warn them on the system that you have exceeded. So if they do want to exceed it, we don't normally we don't allow them. But recently, some people would like to do it on your own thing. Yeah.
You're you're focusing on Egypt, which is great.
We're starting,
The business plan scale is great.
Yeah, we're actually...
Which other countries?
The GCC area,
are you going to Morocco? Are you taking this elsewhere?
Yes, we're actually examined Morocco, right? We're actually right now examining Morocco. I've been speaking here with our fellow colleagues from Ghana. Ghana is a very, very good market, has the same exact problem. So the market is huge. This GCC area is as well as very unique.
So in terms of your customer acquisition, I know you have 2,500 active users. Mm-hmm. What is your definition for an active user?
Yeah.
And then what are your percentages of return customers?
Okay, so the percentage of return is, as in comes again. Yeah, we have around 30% of them coming again to purchase again. And also the cost per acquisition is, you were asking
Sorry, the definition of an active user.
Yeah, the active user is generally anyone who would, for the buying side, it's someone who actually places an order, but he just didn't pay for it. And the completed purchase is different, or but someone who is on our system that goes through the process of placing an order. For the traveler, it is the traveler who signs up and is available right now with extra space that he can use for our company. I hope this answers your question.
We don't have any more time for questions, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I'd like to welcome the next company, Talents in Africa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bridget Boache from Accra, Ghana, representing Talents in Africa. We are a web-based platform focusing on youth unemployment on the continent. But I want to start by telling you a story that shows the scale and the magnitude of the problem that we're dealing with. So a lot of people assume that youth unemployment only affects people without degrees. But this gentleman here is called Andrew. Andrew received a degree in laboratory science technology from a polytechnic in Nigeria in 2011. After 5 years of searching for and not being able to find a job, he decided to make the journey from Nigeria to Europe. In October of just last year, Quartz Africa chronicled his horrific one-year journey by foot from Nigeria into Libya, crossing the Mediterranean, and now in Italy, where he illegally lives and works as a cashier. But however heartbreaking Andrew's story is, we know that he's perhaps still among the lucky few. There are still hundreds of thousands of young African economic migrants stuck in Libya. Just 2 years ago, and not 100, many of us saw the videos online of African migrants being sold in slave markets in Libya for just $400. We're young Africans who've been working in capacity building for the last 5 years, and we believe that we're the ones to solve this problem. We know that Africa's greatest asset is its people. Of the continent of 1.2 billion people, the average age is just 25. According to the World Bank, Africa will have the largest working population by 2030, surpassing that of China and India. Yet unemployment threatens to undermine the progress that we've made on the continent. But as you can see on the graph, it primarily affects those with degrees, like Andrew. According to the African Center for Economic Transformation, almost half of the continent's university graduates each year, 10 million, half of 10 million do not find jobs each year. But McKinsey reports that there are jobs in our market, and as all of the entrepreneurs here are evidence of, with growing entrepreneurship, there will be even more and more jobs in our market. So a lot of people ask me, is the issue that there are no jobs in the market, or what's going on with the talent there, right? But what we found is that the actual issue beyond the job deficit is the fact that there is a skill mismatch. And our current market isn't addressing that. And Della focuses on just software developers, and that's only a small segment of the population. And Africa's largest job platform, Jobberman, simply works as a yellow pages for job advertisements. So we introduce to you what we've all been waiting for, Africa's first online talent searching platform. We're in the market to help address the skill mismatch, which we believe is the key to unlocking more job opportunities for Africans on the continent. So what we do is we've developed proprietary tests that lets young Africans identify their unique skills, talents, and abilities, and then we use that to suggest them to opportunities that are in the market. So if you take someone like Andrew, he could not find a job as a laboratory science technician in Nigeria because our hospitals can only hire so much. But with all of the startups that are in Nigeria, there's a huge demand for things like digital marketers, data scientists, for which he has comparable skills. So we're able to suggest that to him so that he's able to find the opportunities. On the other end, employers are able to identify candidates that they normally miss in the recruitment process. All of this is being backed by our artificial intelligence software that's collecting the data for more efficient matching and for us to improve the school to work pipeline. So far, we've piloted in 7 African countries, have 10,000 job seeker profiles, and 20 recruiters that we've already sourced candidates for. And we charge recruiters just $25 a month. We anticipate that should we continue on this trajectory, by 2050, we will reach 500,000 active job seeker profiles, and with just 1,000 recruiters, we'll make $300,000 a year. The value we've created with this product is immense, being 97% cheaper than the world's leading job platform, LinkedIn. So why invest in us? Well, we're all Africans here, and we believe that we have to be the ones to solve this problem. We're on a huge mission, and we can't do it without your help. But most importantly, every entrepreneur here, we're telling you the stories, the potential that we have. And we're asking you for capital, but once you get on the ground and you've been in Africa working, you realize that the greatest need is perhaps the human talent and the human capital to help your business grow and scale. So inevitably, by investing in talent in Africa, you're not only investing in our company, but you're investing in all of the entrepreneurs who are pitching here, in Africa's young people, and in the future of our continent. I ask you to remember, we're all going to talk about, the African opportunity this weekend, but I ask you to remember that Africa's greatest asset is not in the minds, but in the minds of its people. Thank you all so much for the opportunity.
So thank you for what you're doing. It strikes me what you're building here is a platform, a two-sided platform.
Yes.
Those are notoriously hard to build because you have to basically find folks on both sides of the equation. You've got to find talent, get them to use the system, then you have to find recruiters, employ them. I guess my question to you is, what's your strategy on both sides? Is there any way for you to automate one of the two and make it a little easier?
Yeah, so we face a classic marketplace problem, like which one do you get first? And so far we found that we've been more successful appealing to candidates first. Once we know that we have quality candidates on our platform who have the skills that employers are looking for, we know that the employers will come. And there's huge demand for people to find quality talent in our market. So we believe that inevitably we will be able to have both sides of the marketplace in place. I don't know if I've answered that completely.
That's half of it. The other half was, how are you actually getting those people onto the platform then? What's your strategy to do?
Yes, so our strategy right now is doing recruitment firms in Ghana at the university level. So we go to recruitment firms, get candidates to be onboarded onto our platform. A lot of the 10,000 profiles that we built over the last year, and since we beta tested, we're actually online without any offline marketing activities. The continent is just brewing with young people who are looking for opportunities. So we think on the candidate side, that's pretty easy to acquire.
Of course. So a couple of things. First of all, such an important platform, job creation and helping youth and employment. You mentioned AI.
Yes.
Just a bit of explanation as to what you mean by that.
Sure.
A follow-up question is, it's a great, you've got to attract the folks to the platform, but you also got a B2B issue here in terms of getting employers interested in this. What's your sales cycle? How are you creating that stickiness? How are you getting the employers to get excited to come on board? Because the more employees you have, that's that ecosystem that you want.
Yes. Okay, I just had a break.
AI platform, start with that.
Yes, let me start with the AI platform. So the idea is to use artificial intelligence to improve the predictability of our platform, right? So right now we're collecting a lot of data on what employers are looking for, what candidates have. And our goal is to ultimately allow technology to take over that to make the system more efficient. But we need a lot of data in order to do that efficiently. So that's the goal with that. On the other side, in terms of, can you repeat that question?
Getting the employers, you want the companies to come and subscribe and get excited about the platform.
So we think market trends are working in our favor. So for example, in our market, our government has signed a number of initiatives to bring multinationals into the company, like Nissan, a lot of these employers who are looking for skilled candidates in our market. So we think the industry trends are in our favor. And like these entrepreneurs shows, there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are burgeoning in the African ecosystem who need talent to grow and scale.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great. I'd like to welcome Tambua Health to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Louis. I am the co-founder and CEO of Tambua Health, and we are a medical technology software and services company that is working to revolutionize the diagnosis and treatment of respiratory diseases, specifically tuberculosis and pneumonia. With a show of hands, how many people have their parents today? I lost my parents 7 years ago because of tuberculosis. Well, this is not a new phenomenon in Africa, in the developing world in general. Over 1.5 million people die each year because of tuberculosis, and over 100,000 households are affected by tuberculosis. Although tuberculosis is a curable disease, the problem is early diagnosis. Clinics and people in Africa in general have a problem, lack access to cheap and accessible diagnosis tools, and they have to travel long distances. The average distance that the average Kenyan in northern Kenya travels is 100 miles just to access a clinic, and most of the times the clinical doctor does not have the required equipment to screen for to diagnose for tuberculosis and pneumonia. So, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. At Tambua Health, we have developed the Tambua app, which is a cross-platform smartphone application for screening and monitoring tuberculosis and pneumonia. So we use cough sound segmentation technology, symptoms, risk factors, and clinical data to come up with the diagnosis. So let's talk about the human anatomy. So the cough is the first is the first indicator of respiratory problem, and each respiratory disease has a specific acoustic signature. So this is an example of the difference between a pneumonia cough through a spectrograph and a TB cough through a spectrograph. As you can see, they have a different frequency and a different intensity and variable between different the maximas between the different wavelengths. And we can map that using our algorithm, which we have used these 3 guiding principles, which is entropy, where we reduce the number of false positives, and we have an index reproducibility, where we can reproduce different indexes and build a fingerprint on that. And we have hashing independence, where we can the platform can withstand heavy distortion from sound and even distortions between a normal cough and a fake cough. And how the Tambua app works is once the user signs up, they record their cough a couple of times, and they add their risk factors, symptoms, and clinical info. And the cough sound plus this metadata increases the predictive sensitivity. So the application features smart cough analytics platform, care management, and the application goes beyond diagnosis to patient engagement, where we link the patient to a specialist, and at the same time have a check the indexes between the first point and the first screening and compared to the other screening. And it can also work without the internet. We use USSD or just an IVR. You just call a toll-free number and record your cough, and USSD using our JSON or XML API connected to our platform. And we also connect the medical personnel to come to the user's premise. The health tech market in Africa is big, 35 billion, growing 6% each year, and over 1.2 billion is spent on respiratory diagnosis. And respiratory diseases are actually the reason why we actually go to clinics. And we are doing this now because the smartphone penetration is high, and the smartphone in Africa is becoming the one-stop shop for everything fintech, and we feel like the diagnostics is something we can add to that. Our revenue model, we have different revenue models. One is we have an API that we can sell. We offer $500 to tech providers. We already have telehealth, and we also offer a platform. The platform to as a subscription fee to clinics, and we charge $1.5 for each and every screen and medical record stored through the platform. The innovation is that we can share, there's a shared revenue between us and the clinics. We also have we are tech providers as well through either an integration or selling directly. And the software as a medical device.
Very sorry to cut you off, but we are over your time. We'll start the question time now. Thank you.
How large is your database that you use to query your cough sound?
Yeah, so currently we have segmented over 1,000 cough sounds. Plus we have coupled that with a cross-validation double-blind trial in Kenya. And I did not get enough time to explain where as well we have a bigger database, a cough sound database bigger than Merck's database, and we are working with Merck on digital biomarkers because our cough sound segmentation algorithm can also be used for not only tuberculosis, pneumonia, and even other diseases. So we have continuous implementation and development. The platform is pretty unique where the platform can add different data sets for different respiratory diseases. So
So have you segmented it by age and?
Yes, so we have segmented over 35 data points plus other demographics.
And what % false positives do you have?
So the application is, sorry.
I get it. I'm either in really bad shape, call a doctor, I'm okay.
Yes, so the application is 86% specific and 92% sensitive. This is much more, this is actually higher than what we currently have with the sputum tests and the chest radiography. It's cheaper, and at the same time, it does not require a specialist. So it adds value to not only the clinic but also the misdiagnosis that happens in the process. And we currently have filed for we currently submitted for the FDA as a breakthrough device, and I'm actually excited to say that next week we're going to have our pre-market certificate, and we are also looking at submitting a CE mark in the EU so that we can be able to capture the whole market. And the health data privacy, the platform is HIPAA compliant, and we also follow the IMDRF regulation on software as a medical device.
I know we're speed dating and you only have 5 minutes, so I understand that you're speaking very quickly. You have the prospects for a wonderful innovation. I would just make the suggestion to you that just take a breath and then sell it, because you really have something very special here.
I know you didn't get to talk about it. Can you talk about the team? It seems like you've amassed a pretty good set of individuals.
So this is the team right now. I worked on AI and biomedical research. So I have a background in AI, machine learning, and specifically supervised learning. And my team, Daniel, worked for IBM and later worked for Alibaba AI Labs as the only black person, the only African. Forbes and Eric as well worked for Google, mostly AI and APIs as well. And the advisory board, it's very diverse. It's mostly people who are specialists in their field. Professor Tesbid is at NASA, and he's helping us on the software as a medical device approval. Professor John McDan at Caltech has had his software as a medical device approved by the FDA. And David Moina and Margaret York as well are very knowledgeable in biomedical and government business.
Not 15?
No. And
So where is this currently available, and then what are your plans for expansion?
So currently we are in Kenya. but we have global aspirations. In the US, we have partnered with Advent Health in Florida, which is the biggest healthcare system in the US. And we will be providing the platform as an API for Blue Cross Blue Shield in the application. And we in the process, we wanted, the quota of this year, we wanted to raise 500,000 and we have raised 400,000. So we feel like it's a really brilliant, we feel like it's a new technology which has endless opportunities and different, sorry.
Great, that's all we have time for. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome Thrive Agric to the stage. We have 2 more companies left, including these guys, so hang in there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ukar, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Thrive Agric. African farmers face 3 primary problems. There is money to fund their farms, to get inputs like seeds, the best seeds, fertilizers, and inputs, and also chemicals to get high yield from their farms. And also problems with low yield from their farms due to little knowledge of standard agricultural practices. And also there's the third problem, there's the problem with access to market. There exist tons of middlemen who stand between the farmer at the farm gate and the processing companies. And they buy the commodities of these farmers at really ridiculous prices. Thrive Agric is solving this problem. We help small farmers across Africa access finance for their farms, best practices, and big buyers upon harvest. Africa spends over 110 billion US dollars on food importation yearly, according to PwC. And with a population of over 500 million smallholder farmers and a large arable land, and food importation is increasing. We are solving this problem by aggregating farmers in clusters of cooperatives of about 100 to 200 farmers led by these farmers themselves. And we provide these farmers with extension service workers who educate these farmers on best practices, on how to farm right. I mean, most farmers in Africa still believe that they need to put 5 seeds in a hole to get ×5 the harvest. And then that is a narrative that is very popular. And educating these farmers that a seed can produce ×3 the harvest is something that they do not have access to, and that's what we are solving. And also, we connect the farmers to big buyers like Nestle and Unilever. This is Suraju. Suraju is a smallholder farmer in Rijana. Rijana is a community in Kaduna State. He leads a cooperative of about 152 smallholder farmers. Before Thrive Agric, Suraju was getting about 10 to 11 bags of corn. So currently, during the last rainy season that ended in September, Suraju got about 35 bags. That's over 3 times the regular yield. Suraju is an example of over 12,600 farmers that we worked with in the past 18 months. And we funded these farmers with over 3.1 million US dollars in the last 18 months. This figure is significant because the regular African farmer can hardly get access to financial institutions like commercial banks and microfinance banks. So to fund a farm, a hectare of farm cost about 252 US dollars, but these farmers do not have that access to that loan. Thrive Agric is helping to link these farmers to access to these funds. We are not stopping here. In the next 12 months, by Q4 of this year, we plan to work with 50,000 more farmers, linking them to access to 10.47 million US dollars. So far, we've been able to link these farmers to big buyers like Stallion, Rice, Sona Breweries, and these are local Nigerian brands. And we've been able to make money we'll make money from this process, and how we do that is by 40-40-20 split, where the farmers make 40%, we make 20%, and the people who we loan money from make 40%. And last year we made an ARR of 477,000. And we link with partners like the Central Bank of Nigeria and other credit facilities. We are a 21-member team supported by Ventures Platform, a leading acceleration program in Nigeria, Pitcher Palace, Google, and currently we are part of the winter batch of Y Combinator. We believe we are solving a very pivotal problem in Nigeria. Join us as we build an Africa that feeds the world and itself. Thank you.
So congratulations on the work done today. 3 million over 18 months to farmers, super impressive to farm groups. Would love to hear a little bit about your experience. What have been the default rates, and how do you control basically all of the risk involved in what you're doing here? Primarily that financial risk. If you are actually making loans to these farmer groups, how do you securitize those loans? Is there collateral involved, et cetera?
Yeah, okay. So when we started, we did a direct production, right? And we did a loss of about 65%. It was entirely because it was direct production. So currently, because we are controlling the entire process end to end, we are on a default rate of about 6.7 default rate. So 94.3 farmers paid their loans at the end of harvest.
So 6% default, and then how are you actually protecting your risk there?
Okay, so we work with insurance companies, right?
You are?
Yes, work with insurance companies. And I'm trying to know the particular risk you're talking about.
The risk of farmers not paying back on your loans. So you're saying you work with insurance companies?
No. So handling side selling, we provide these farmers with the input for their farms. It's not just access to market alone. So we provide them with input for their farms, advisory, extension. The regular African farmers, they are not so difficult as it were. So a proof of concept helps them understand that the model works. When they see that this model works, helping them to make over a ton in yield, so it increases the repetition of these farmers.
I'll keep the momentum going, okay? So first of all, just fantastic that you're in this sector. Smallhold farmers is the lifeblood of so many communities, so fantastic that you're in this space. The last mile, yet again, is so important, having been involved in different projects like this over the last decade or so. How are you thinking of your collections from farmers? How is that communication taking place? Is it digital? Is it electronic? Or do you have agents out in the field?
Okay, so we have, aside trusting on digital tools, right, we have agents on the field who work directly with these farmers. And then they translate information from the field down to data collection points. So it's, regardless of we do not depend on digital tools. I mean, these people are on ground, making sure that what is collected from the field is kept in warehouses and then sent to the processing companies who have needs for these commodities.
What's your biggest challenge that you're finding in your entire ecosystem or value chain? What's keeping you up at night? How are you dealing with this friction point?
I mean, one of the things is we are trying to work, simulate around how can we make sure that we compete with market prices, right? So, and how we can do that primarily is by increasing the number of farmers on our platform. So at the moment, I said we're working with about 12,600 smallholder farmers. At the point when we can confidently work with 1 million farmers in Nigeria alone, we'll control the market price. And we'll be very pivotal in determining how maize and every commodity is sold.
Great. We now have our last company to present for the evening before we award 2 of the prizes. This is Afia Kit. I just want to flag that we will award 2 of the sponsored prizes today, but the finalists will be announced tomorrow during the day of the conference.
Hello everyone, we are Afia Kit. We are a health tech startup based out of Nairobi, and we provide actionable analytics to health managers across sub-Saharan Africa. And looking at the issues around healthcare management is a really interesting team comprising of medical practitioners, a data scientist, a lawyer, and an academic as well.
This is our national referral hospital, also the biggest in East and Central Africa. And my worst nightmare as a doctor happened about a week ago when I walked in, found a mother who just delivered a baby who was unable to breathe. And all I needed was what is called a bag, a Nambu bag, and a mask. Unfortunately, where the baby was, the bag and mask was under lock and key by somebody else. The standards for care are known. My training is clear that I need it where the baby is. This is a recurrent problem. The standards are not being kept, and nobody really knows how many facilities, where and when, are able to offer quality of care. That then manifests in all the recurrent infections to patients, the prolonged stay, and the very avoidable deaths that we experience. And this is not just a Kenyan problem. This is a problem that cuts across the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. It leads to wastage to the extent that the resources that we use to manage 2 patients probably could be comfortably be used for 3 patients.
So the issue that we are addressing is really that health managers lack actionable data for decision making to guide them on how to allocate resources. And we are trying to contribute towards having a more responsive health care system in Africa by providing a platform that provides actionable insights for health managers on how to allocate resources. And our product is really it's a mobile and web-based set of tools that health managers can use to collect data on various aspects of health care delivery, and from that generate very easy to use analytics for health. So for instance, as an example, as a supervisor of health services, you just download the application on your mobile phone. It has a checklist of WHO and national a checklist of tools based on WHO and national standards. So using it, you go to a health facility, you look at availability of commodities, you look at training of healthcare workers, you put patient files and actually look at the quality of service delivery, whether equipment are functional or not. And then once you're done, on clicking send, the supervised facility is able to get a detailed report and immediately start acting on the gaps identified. The managers at the facility, subnational levels, and even at national levels are able to get aggregate dashboards such as this one, which is very intuitive, and you're able to see what to address. And at national level, you can actually see what are the big issues affecting, for instance, this one looks at maternal and newborn health. What are the big issues there, and you're able to address them. Yep.
And so over the last year, we've grown from 6 facilities in January to 150 facilities in December. We've generated about $65,000 in revenue. And this is really our customer landscape at this point. We have hospital managers, we have government/donors, and we also have health financiers and pharmaceuticals. So the total addressable opportunity is around $5.6 billion. A lot of it really concentrated around government and donors, really the funders of healthcare at this point. And to really reach out to these 3 constituents, we're building partnership teams and sales teams. They essentially enable us to get into policy conversations at a very high level so we can really influence data consumption. And also we're looking to build out our offering in a way that really allows us as well to give these health managers analytics that are easily understandable, really intuitive analytics as well. And so to really power us through this journey, again, remember the continental story is about $30 billion lost everywhere in inefficiencies in healthcare. We're looking for $500,000. $200,000 will be going into business development, $150,000 going to product development, and another $150,000, will go into operations. Thank you very much. We look forward to collaborating with you.
Thanks for the presentation. So I just wanted to understand the product in a little bit more detail. Is the product, are you providing data that someone fills in? And if so, how do you collect the data? And then what do you do with that data? Do you actually provide actual products and services in addition to providing data, or is it simply the data?
So health service supervision is an activity that goes on regularly, but currently what health managers use is just paper-based, system for collecting data. A lot of that doesn't translate into reports that go to the specific people, and they're not standardized. You can't actually track performance over time because I'll just summarize it in a word, in a paragraph, and so on and so forth. So what we do, so this has now been provided, and it's been used in to cover 150 facilities. So our product is actually the set of tools and the platform that the health managers now use instead of the paper-based system, and the analytics that it provides. So the data is captured, and now, based on this, we actually have data that covers 150 facilities, and we are looking to expand to the rest of the country. So just our tool alone will be able to provide data for the facility, aggregate data for several users, but also business insights that can be used, for instance, to inform pharma what drugs are needed where, equipment suppliers, where do you need to place ultrasound machines, and so on and so forth. I don't know if that.
Yeah, and I was trying to understand if it was, what the data you're capturing was. Is it pharma? Is it equipment? Is it missing equipment?
It's everything. It's availability of commodities. So, for instance, one of the dashboards that we showed looks at, some of the data is derived from availability, say, of a certain drug for maternal and newborn health services. It looks at availability of functional equipment. It looks at quality of services. This is generally what health supervisors look at. They look at the whole spectrum in a hospital when they supervise. Are staff trained? Do you have sufficient staff? Are they trained? So it's data on everything, all the inputs and processes that are required to provide health care to patients.
But you guys are not providing the products and services, you're providing just the data side of it right now?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Just kind of touching on that, can you explain the workflow of actually how you collect the data, how it's processed through the system, and then how it's used on the back end?
Thank you very much. In the health system, there are layers. The service providers at the bottom, if we could call this the bottom, they are the patient interface. Behind them are the managers of the health service providers, and then the team leaders or the strategic leaders who then determine the budgets that are made. Thing is, the budgets that are being made are not necessarily linked to the technical needs at the patient health service system interface. So we have supervisors across the board who manage the system. For example, you'd find a doctor who supervises a zone, has maybe 20 facilities, and the 20 facilities, he'll go with a paper-based tool. He will assess their level of operation. He will summarize it. It's a 26-page document, checklist. It's like a survey questionnaire. And then he'll need to summarize and be able to give feedback to his boss, at the same time, give feedback to the facility. It doesn't happen. Tons and tons of files of information that is useless or that is information that is useful but is not in a form that can be consumed currently. So what we are saying is there is an existing system. It's just not adding as much value. We've made it lightweight, we've made it convenient, we've divided it into edible components. The platform has modules that basically are binary. You have it, you don't have it, until you finish all the components of healthcare. So as much as healthcare is complex, healthcare service delivery is actually very simple because the elements are known. So those elements are what we've tweaked out, defined into a tool that can be used by the teams, and then given them the convenience of being able to not only give actionable feedback. So the PDF report that comes out at the end of the supervision is in email form and can be provided to the teams that are giving service delivery. But at the same time, it's fed into a metadata database that would be able to collate against the specific key performance indicators that a team leader or a strategic leader would be able to use. And that is translating into better quality of care in some of the hospitals, for example, where they were locking useful, very critical equipment. The PDF report highlighted that. So when they got their report, then they saw the red flags and they started changing the red flags. But at the same time, because of the dashboard, we've been able to show the county and the national teams that, look, one of the most critical services that you've been missing is the ability to deal with post-abortal care. That there's no facility in the whole of Nairobi that's giving quality of care against the aggregated information that is being collected by their teams, not by our teams. So for us, this is basically a platform for the tools that they already have on the ground.
Thank you very much. Harambe and the award, and then we'll announce the winner, and the same for sundials. So I'll leave the stage to Harambe.
Oh, hi, my name is Margaret Nyamumbo. I'm the founder of Kahawa 1893. It's a coffee company we source directly from farmers in Kenya and sell in the US. Actually, a HBS class of 2016, so it's good to be back. And I'm a Harambe class of 2009.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ugwem Aneo. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Solstice Energy Solutions. We're an energy technology company that develops IoT and software to connect and intelligently manage distributed energy assets. And I am a Stanford graduate from the School of Engineering master's and doctoral program, and I'm a Harambean class of 2016.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Okendo Lewis Gale, proud graduate of our Kennedy School and founder of Harambeans. For those of you who are not familiar with Harambe, it's a network of young African entrepreneurs. We call ourselves Harambeans. Collectively, Harambeans have raised over $400 million from investors such as Jack Ma, Mark Zuckerberg, and Google Ventures. Harambeans have co-founded companies such as Yoko, Spark Schools, Flutterwave, and Andela. This is the inaugural Harambeans Harvard Prize, and we have been tasked with the unenviable task of choosing a diamond in a Harvard diamond mine. The prize is meant to celebrate exemplary executioners. There are millions of people with ideas across our beloved continent, but only a coterie of individuals who can assemble dream teams and consistently deliver results for their customers, investors, and societies. In the Harambe world, we think that these individuals are indispensable to Africa's ultimate success, which is why we're proud to partner with the Africa Business Club to sing their praises and lionize their exploits. The process was simple. A subset of some of the people that you heard from tonight were invited to apply. The applications were reviewed and candidates were interviewed by Harambeans, who then voted on tonight's winner. The winner will be granted admission to Harambee and a $5,000 check. As a member of the 2019 class of Harambeans, the winner will attend a symposium in Brentwood and gain access to Harambee ecosystems of opportunities, including the Harambee Seed Fund and the Global Access Program. As King Solomon, the biblical figure, realized, it's hard to split the baby. So we decided to part it in 3 ways. Bear with us. What we've decided to do is we will admit 3 members to Harambee today, and we'll give the award, the $5,000 check, to one of the candidates. That's it, Ms. Nyamumbo.
And I'll now recognize the first 2 candidates that will admit to Harambee. Miss Bridget Boache of Talents in Africa. And the second candidate is Miss Melissa of INFIUSS.
Come over here.
Oh.
Come in the middle.
Okay. Okay. So we were very impressed with your visions and your plans for building businesses that can advance Africa's rise, and would like to welcome you to join the Alliance, and hopefully you can join us in Bretton Woods. As members of Harambee, you now have access to a growing ecosystems of resources such as the Harambee Seed Fund and the Global Access Program. I hope you'll join us in Bretton Woods in April. Yeah?
Picture for the history book right here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
All right, so I will now recognize the winner of the Harambeans Harvard Prize, Mr. Waleed Hatim Abdu of Ship and Rag. On behalf of the African entrepreneurs assembled in the Harambee Entrepreneur Alliance, congratulations on your selection as the winner of the Harambeans Harvard Prize. The prize is a vision of African entrepreneurs by African entrepreneurs for the benefit of African entrepreneurs. The award is a celebration of African teams with a proven track record of execution. Entrepreneurs capable of meeting weekly, monthly, and quarterly targets in spite of seemingly unsurmountable obstacles. Innovators determined to transform Africa's challenges into opportunities. Harambeans building Africa's future. As you encounter the inevitable trials and tribulations of the entrepreneurial process, please hold firm to the promise of the Harambee Declaration. Yet in the end, the Africa our generation desires can be won, it exists, it is real, it is possible, and it is ours. On behalf of your fellow Harambeans, congratulations and welcome to the Harambee family.
Maybe you can ship this one. Maybe. Mr. Landry, do you want to come on this side? Do you want to come? All right, we got the after party. Oh, yes. Good job, sir.
We'd also now like to invite Sundials Brands to the stage.
Good evening. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to be with you here this evening. On behalf of our Chief Executive Officer, Richelieu Dennis, of the Sundial portfolio brands, my name is Kimberly Page. I am the Chief Operating and Brand Officer for the company, and really excited to be here. This is our second year supporting the New Venture Pitch, and it's been amazing and exciting. And so with that, I'd just like to pause and just once again acknowledge all of these amazing emerging entrepreneurs. It was such an amazing and inspiring night. Want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Eden Zalo. I'm the Director of International Operations focused on Africa at Sundial Brands, and I'm also an HBS alum, class of 2016, so really happy to be back on campus.
Great. So as many of you know, Sundial Brands, the makers of all-natural personal care and beauty products, was started about 28 years ago. And so while our mission was always to provide high-quality natural products, our mission was so much more than that. It really was rooted in the spirit of over-serving the underserved. We've recently announced an unprecedented $100 million investment fund for women of color of entrepreneurs. And primarily, our business model was always rooted in the notion of community commerce. And so for that, it really wasn't about corporate social responsibility, but really building a business model where the community was an integral part to how we operated. From our co-ops in Ghana, where we source all of our shea materials and butter, we can absolutely point back to the number of women that we have raised out of poverty who are not only out of poverty but are thriving, are now amazing entrepreneurs, are now loaning funds to other local women. And I think for us it was really inspiring to see the women here tonight in keeping with that spirit and the social impact. And so we are incredibly excited to announce an emerging women of color entrepreneur this evening with a small appreciation and inspiration for what you do. And we'd like to announce that the winner is Melissa from Infius.
So I'd like to thank everyone on the team first. I'd also like to introduce the finalists very quickly to you before we announce the two winners. So I'd like to start in alphabetical order of finalists. We have Kennedy Makuna from Afia Kit. We have Boubacar Diallo from Benoo Energies. We have Christian from Echoact. We have Sama from Festoun. We have Job from Freshmart. We have Melissa from Infius. We have Walid from Ship and Bag. We have Bridget from Talents in Africa. We have Lewis from Tambua Health. And we have Uka from Thrive Agric. These companies will also be presenting at 5 o'clock today in a showcase along with the other top 20 finalists, which will be in Batten Hall, and you're able to talk to these companies there if you have any interest in learning more about them. The companies span sectors such as healthcare, energy, recycling of plastics, fashion, and tech, and you can read more about them in your brochure on pages 12 and 13. I would also like to invite the judges from the competition to the stage, if any of you are in the audience today, to thank the prize winners for second and first prize and have a photo op with them. So if you could start to make your way towards the stage now if you were one of the judges, that would be great. So the second prize for the conference today is a $5,000 award, and the first prize is a $10,000 award. And so I would like to first invite and congratulate the second place prize winner. This is Melissa Bime from Infius. We also wanted to acknowledge that there not only is a cash prize for the competition, but also a gift to each participant of the wine that was used in the inauguration of Nelson Mandela and Barack Obama. So you both will receive a bottle of this wine. I also wanted to announce the winner of the competition this year and the winner of the grand prize of $10,000. Unfortunately, he is actually on his way to pitch to some investors in London tomorrow, so he is unable to accept the award in person, but we are very excited to announce that the decision was unanimous, that the winner of the competition this year is Tambua Health, Lewis. So, if you want to walk into the middle, we can do a photo. Thank you.